Radio Row for Super Bowl 59 continues here with Front Office Sports at the New Orleans Convention Center. I'm Akbar Machado, and we're joined by Akbar Gbaja-Biamila here with us right now. Yeah. Yes, indeed. Yeah. So, sir, let's talk about your partnership you got going on with Experian right now.
This is really, really cool. For me, after I got done, in the NFL, something that I've been very, very passionate about is really just kind of how we kind of really take in our own personal finances. And there's so many different ways, right? I'm not your stock investor or anything like that. Well, they're the simple things that I think that make sense for people to be educated and be literate on. And for me, my partnership with Experian has been for 6 years now. Wow. I'm really, really proud of it. For years I've been talking about Experian Boost and my partnership with that, and how Experian helps people to boost their credit score when it comes to self-reporting your utility bills, your streaming services like Hulu or Netflix. Self-report that, and that allows you to be able to elevate and boost your credit score. And we know that if you've got a great credit score, it gives you a lot of flexibility. You have the ability to go out there and get lower rates. But this new feature now that Experian has, you can go to Experian.com for it, is getting rid of unwanted subscriptions. I would challenge anyone out there right now, in this moment, you're watching this, you're like, what are you talking about? Pick up your smartphone and see how many pages you swipe through, right? Yep. And you've got 4, 5, 6 pages. You ain't using all them apps.
No, or just subscriptions you forgot you had and forgot about it.
And you can't even find it because you don't even remember half the apps on your phone and what it's used for. And you're paying for those. On average right now, people are paying about $1,000 a year in unwanted subscriptions that they're not utilizing. And Experian's like, we got you. Just so we're here at Super Bowl, and I think people here can understand the football analogy of having that dominant left tackle to protect the quarterback's blind side. In this situation, you're the quarterback. Experian is the left tackle that is help you with the blind side, because so many of us are getting blindsided by these unwanted subscriptions. For me, I get suckered in by, here's this new app. Yeah. Guess what?
Sign up.
Sign up. 7-day free trial, 30-day free trial. 3 days later, I forget about it. So if you don't want to be sacked by a lot of these subscriptions, I say go to Experian.com, sign up right now, and help to eliminate these unwanted subscriptions.
Love that, because you're absolutely right. Credit score is incredibly important for so many aspects of your life. Let's talk about all the things that you've been working on since you've left the NFL. You've been a very busy man. You've been able to parlay a great NFL career into a great broadcasting career, but very diversified. The Talk, NFL Network, American Ninja Warrior. We've seen guys like Michael Strahan and Nate Burleson also be able to sort of flex that muscle too. But what's sort of the skill that you've learned about yourself that you've been able to do so many different things out there?
Well, I think the first thing is being able to have great relationships with people and being, putting yourself in a position to where you can go out and learn from others. I tell this story, from time to time, but, I remember trying to figure out my way through this because I was an undrafted guy. I didn't have a big name. I wasn't a big name guy. And so people go, how did you get into this position? I remember I cold called Michael Strahan. And even though we played around the same time, I had never met Michael Strahan. I had never played against Michael Strahan. He knew my brother, but he didn't know me. Like, he couldn't pick me out from a lineup. And I cold called him, got his number, called him and said, hey, this is Akbar Gbaja-Biamila. I love what you're doing, and I would love to shadow you. This is the time where he was doing Kelly and Michael. And he goes, why don't you come out to New York, meet me at my spot. You go with me, you shadow me. And I went to him do Kelly and Michael. From there, he went over to do Good Morning America. And I'm sitting there, I'm going, wow. And he's saying, here's what you want to be prepared for. And I'm just sitting there taking it all in. If you ever need any help, reach out. And it wasn't like that LA, call me.
Oh yeah, and you never hear from him.
And you never hear him. He was like, call me, right? And every time I've ever called Michael Strahan, he's picked up. He's given me the support in, could be contract negotiation. It could be trying to problem solve with everything. And he's always been there. Like, he doesn't have to do that.
No, but that's awesome that he does that.
Yeah, that he does. And I think it's so cool. And that's what allowed me to give me the confidence to go in and, and I'm proud of what I've built. I've been very, very blessed. And I praise God for these opportunities. American Ninja Warrior, Fight to Survive, which is my first survival show that I've ever done. The stuff that I'm doing with the NFL Network, the Talk, all of these things, I think is one of those things that I learned from watching someone else do it and then creating my own lane and taking advantage of those opportunities.
So well said, and Michael is incredible at his job.
Yeah, and shout out to Nate Burleson.
He's great. He's become a great personality and such a refreshing sort of voice and figure in television.
It's so cool. I love Nate Burleson and everything that he's created and built. I can remember when he was playing and then coming into it, and then he's just continued to blossom. And he's one of the most, him and Michael Strahan, probably one of the most diversified dudes out there who've taken an NFL career and taken it into something else. And I think what it's doing is showing other people that it's possible, and other players that they can do more than just talk about football. Because sometimes you get typecast as a football player, like, hey, you can only talk
Stay
football.
in that lane. Now you can do other things.
And this is what I love, being able to, show, and flex different muscles, because I have different interests as well. You know?
Well, one thing about American Ninja Warrior I was reading, and I'd love to get your take on this if this is true. There are certain things of the obstacle course you and Matt Iceman can't even see. You're having to sort of judge and commentate off like the monitor. You're not actually able to see that happening in real life. What's that sort of like?
Oh no, we see everything in real life.
Okay.
Yeah, we see everything. We're there live and in color. So there have been other shows where they pre-recorded and then they
people afterwards.
And afterwards, we're there live and in the flesh, and we're there for 12, 13 hours standing there and going through each of the runs, because all those stories are very, very important. But the thing that a lot of people don't realize is because, and I'll kind of pull back the curtain a little bit, is because of lighting, we want to make sure we have consistency. So we shoot at night.
Yeah.
We shoot from like 7 to 8 p.m. until 6 in the morning, right before the sun comes up.
Wow.
And so some of these ninjas you're watching, and it just looks like it's in general in nighttime, these athletes are performing at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning.
All more respect to that.
That is nuts.
Insane.
Now, Matt and I, we're also doing, some equal heavy work to be able to think on your feet at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Are you doing a lot of caffeine at that moment?
Yeah, and it's the balance of, wait, how much caffeine do I drink? Because once 6 o'clock comes around,
I want to go to bed.
I want to go to bed. I don't want to be up sitting there waiting. So you have to kind of monitor your stuff. But we get a lot of our good stuff because at some point we just get into loopy mode, and that's when we come up with some of our best stuff.
I was going to say, that's where the gold is actually, then you find. You actually wrote a book called Everyone Can Be a Ninja. Yeah. How?
Yeah, so I wrote this because I was inspired by all of the great stories I was hearing from a lot of these ninjas. My story was that, I came in and I considered myself the 53rd man. I was an undrafted free agent to the Oakland Raiders at the time. And, for me, it was not the, drafted, get in, everything's kind of set. I had to work my way up. And it is also kind of goes into, hearing the commentators as they're calling different games, or you see some of these guys who are sitting at the desk, they only want to talk about the big names. I'm a little bit more sensitive to that, and I want to talk about the names of the people who don't. And American Ninja Warrior gives me that opportunity to really go into your big ninjas, to the ninjas who haven't done much, right? And I wanted to write a book about overcoming obstacles. I had to overcome the obstacle of being the guy who was the 53 guy. I was the, coming into broadcasting, like, oh, you're not a Super Bowl guy, or you're not a, you don't have a, Hall of Famer. How do I crack into an industry where I just genuinely love people and want to talk about that? How do I get an opportunity to have a cool job like I have and not have to have this big career? And so I tell that story, and I tell the stories of my friends like Allison Felix and the obstacles she had to overcome to be an Olympic athlete, or Casey Catanzaro, a ninja. So everyone can be a ninja. It's not necessarily about being a ninja, but it's being a ninja in life and overcoming the obstacles and little keys and influences from other people, myself included, about how they overcome obstacles.
Such an amazing way to look at it. Akbar, we'll get you out of here on this. It's a pick'em game on Sunday. Okay. 50-50. Are we going to see a three-peat, or do we think that Saquon and the Eagles are going to pull this one off?
Here we go. This will be the only time in our lifetime no one in this entire building will be alive when we see another three-peat.
Wow.
The Kansas City Chiefs will be the NFL's first three-peat.
Wow.
And so I will tell all the haters out there, all the people who are going through Chiefs fatigue, put all that aside. Take this in. This is a once-in-a-lifetime moment, because when you're in your 70s and 80s, and by the grace of God, 90s, you can tell people, I witnessed the one and only three-peat in NFL history. we're not going to see this again. So take it in, because this is really special moment.
Absolutely. We know how difficult it is just to make the playoffs, let alone win 3 Super Bowls in a row. Akbar, such a pleasure to talk to you. We could talk for hours. Congratulations on all the success of everything that you're working on.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
And we got a lot more interviews with some of your favorite athletes and more right here from Radio Row with Front Office Sports.